Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining in. Jimmy, Dennis, and Mikey. I know this is generally time for you to spend with your families, and for our US guys, it's time you really should be sleeping. So, really appreciate that you have made all this efforts to come, and we're really excited to show you what we have been working on for the last couple of months. So, a quick agenda before we start. Um, Let me just quickly show you my screen. Alrighty. Right, so the quick agenda. Adam will be going through company updates and the business landscape. Adam's main role for the last couple of months have been centered around meeting and pitching to investors to ensure we have strong investor leads for the February-March period next year. He has also led us to receive multiple accolades this year. Marketing and sales will be covered by myself and David. David wears many hats in Wovion and has been working on product marketing and sales. I work on growth marketing and I help create the buzz around Wovion. Product and development will be covered by Chad and David. Chad has been working tirelessly on reconstructing our back-end architecture to ensure this scalability and security fit for enterprise customers. And last of all, UI UX will be covered by Robbie. Robbie has been instrumental on producing rapid UI UX iterations for a potential market we are exploring in food manufacturing and their conversations. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Adam.
Thanks, Michelle. That's a really great introduction. So to kick things off, I want to talk a little bit about our biggest hire since our last demo day, which would be Chad, who you'll be hearing a lot from over the course of this meeting and the things he presents. We'll also hear a little bit about Pete Mulvey and Terry in David's section as well for our newest stakeholders within the company. As for goals, the biggest thing we have right now is our institutional raise that we're hoping to close in February and March. Right now, we're really looking to expand our friends and family around a little bit to give us a little more runway and really make sure we're getting a really great product out the door during our rollout this December and probably a more public launch this January. In terms of how Wovion is stacking up to the market and how it's changing relative to the market, and Knit AI, which was one of our probably closest or biggest competitors, was acquired by Apple. So for us, it's obviously really great news because not only is that product not on the market, it shows that there's a lot of M&A interest for similar products. This was especially apparent during the Dreamforce conference by Salesforce. Salesforce Einstein, for those who don't know, is the AI assistant Salesforce that is supposed to appeal to companies within the same demographic, but in our research hasn't been as successful as they seem to think it is. And the thought leadership and the hype around that event shows that a lot of businesses think this is a really felt issue with no clear solution. Again, doubling down that this is the right time to be entering this market. Front and Intercom, again, another two of our biggest competitors, are rapidly expanding their multi-channel segments. And the general market for just customer experience and service is growing immensely. I mean, spend is incredibly high, but IBM CMO surveys are revealing that a lot of companies still feel like there's a really big problem and that their current softwares aren't cutting it. So what we're doing about this, in addition to our raise and expanding that friends and family round, we're continuing our work really heavily with these pilot customers that we have. So far, the feedback for the wireframes and everything else has been really, really great. And we really think that we're putting out a good product. We have a really long wait list and a lot of people banging on our door to get what we've got. And this is just a huge progress from year ago when the thing was pretty much just slightly more than wireframes with an idea, some tech that we wanted to use. We've established a really robust legal and accounting infrastructure around the entire company. We've had amazing support from both investors, advisors, and other companies. Michelle mentioned it a little bit, stole my thunder, just the hair, but accolades from schools like Brown and Penn, and then moving on to some third-party investors, third-party contests and third-party investors has just shown that this idea is more than just this little plugin or little tool that we kind of originally imagined it. And this is really growing into a full-blown support software that's automating a lot of parts of experience and service for companies so they can focus on personalization and maintaining that customer lifetime value. And so I believe we have a ton of momentum. I think it's really the right time, and I'm really excited for you guys to see the stuff that Chad, Michelle, David, Robbie, and all come up with from just a few months ago.
All right, thanks, Adam. So do we have any questions on that front for Dennis, Jimmy, and Mikey? If not,
all good.
Adam, you made mentions of Dreamforce. Did you attend this year?
No, we weren't able to personally. So we were following with the, I guess, posted online videos of the conference. I think in the future, since it's a good indicator for our market, we're going to make our best attempts to go. And with some loose company relocation plans in the horizon, contingent on funding, it'll probably be easier for us to.
Cool. All right.
cool. All right, moving on to agenda number 2. Will be marketing and sales, covered by David and I. Dave, would you like to go first, or should I?
Yeah, I think you should go first, Michelle, and I'll go into the product and then the sales section.
Cool. All right, so I'll just quickly share my screen. Again. All right. So for the last couple of months, we have been really focused on the following 2 marketing goals. 1 being increasing website traffic, and 2, decreasing cost per acquisition. So to actually explain, to understand why we have been focusing on these goals, I'm going to take you 1 step back to the business goal our marketing activities have been trying to achieve. And that business goal is to ultimately land an enterprise customer. Enterprise customers. As part of our strategy to land enterprise customers, we want to build trust and reliability through small, medium businesses using our software. The more the number of small, medium businesses using our software, the more we can refine our product, validate the value of the product to enterprises, and build trust in the technology. So the marketing activities that we have been conducting are all centered around attracting SMBs to trial the software, whilst ensuring we do so efficiently and sustainably. The ideal scenario would be to have established efficient methods of attracting SMBs, so that in a few months we won't have to spend so much time attracting SMBs and focus more time and resourcing on attracting enterprise customers. So that is the basis of our 2 marketing goals, making sure we attract the lower hanging fruit efficiently and sustainably. So this brings me to my first goal, which is increasing website traffic. One of the most efficient and sustainable methods of attracting new customers is through digital channels. We chose our website and blog as the most preferred channels to attract potential customers, because when someone comes to our website and takes an action, like watch a video or download a resource, we can easily understand that they are actually interested in something relevant to Wovion, as opposed to social media blasts, which have a much wider audience and aren't necessarily very qualified leads. We specially create our content so that every piece of content we produce is not only something of interest to potential customers to draw them in, but also helps us filter whether they are valuable leads or not. We have all our content pieces as part of our content cluster, which is what you can see on your screen right now. So all our content pieces are, let me just quickly annotate. So all our content pieces are right here. They are linked to a stage at which the customer is at in the buyer cycle. And this is linked to a high volume keyword, which is ultimately linked to a buyer persona. So our heavy focus on inbound content marketing ensures that we attract quality leads, establish thought leadership, and are able to actually scale this process sustainably. Oops, clear that. All right. So for the last few months, our traffic has been growing around 40% month by month. We intend to continue this trend, and our next step on growing traffic will be implementing more regular email campaigns to subscribers to drive more content readership. 2, building pillar pages for our core topics such as customer service and conversation management. This is actually a tactic used by great marketing companies like HubSpot and Blitzmetrics to move customers to increase our SEO and also thought leadership on topic clusters. And last of all, focus on the growth tactics using an ICE principle, which measures the impact, cost, and effort needed to implement a growth tactic. And using, as you can see on the right, our growth strategy on our Trello is quite extensive, and we will be using this ICE principle to really prioritize which tactics we should focus on to have maximum impact with least amount of effort. Our second marketing goal is to decrease cost per acquisition. This goal is about lowering the cost it takes to acquire a new customer. The costs include anything and everything from the initial search engine marketing to social media advertising and all the way to the final sales meeting. Lowering cost per acquisition now makes sure that we can scale profitably, and then when we get more customers on, make sure we can scale profitably, more profitably, then when much later we have more customers on board. Again, we're using digital channels to because of its scalability to cost ratio. So I'm going to take you quickly through a customer journey and explain how we have used marketing automation to lower the cost it takes to acquire a new customer. So each customer, when a customer visitor comes on the website, they may see a resource they deem valuable and they download it, and they continue to browse a few more marketing pages, watches a Wavion video, and sign up to trial Wavion. And at each stage, marketing automation works in the background to collect information and provide more targeted content. But at the same time, they help us evaluate whether these leads are valuable leads or that leads we shouldn't really be spending time on. So visitor visits a website. When they download a content, they're giving us their email. They'll automatically be sent to smart lists that perhaps they're a lead and that we should actually follow up, put them into a subscriber list for us to send them more content and see if they're actually someone of value that we should really pursue. If they proceed on to the next stage, like browsing more pages on the website, then with their cookies and also the information they have already submitted to download previous resources, we can track which pages they are viewing on a website. So for example, if they downloaded a marketing resource and if they continue to read marketing web pages, we can perhaps infer that they are more under a CMO persona. And the way that we target and personalize content for them would be much different than, say, a CIO persona. Why we target and personalize is so that we have we can more efficiently convert them to become a customer. And so also with smart content, we are trying to move them down the marketing funnel so that instead of more viral content like what is a chatbot, we can move them more into how to better make use of your conversational data. And that is one step towards one of the benefits of what Wavion provides. And in a way, move them down the funnel and eventually to a customer. So next step, at watching a Wavion video, you can add in workflows, automatically putting them into a workflow too. Sorry, is there a problem with recording?
some of the audio. I think there's a lag.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're just experiencing some audio difficulties. So I'll where it stutters a bit, I'll try to sum it up in the transition over to product.
Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. So yeah, the idea is that automation is helping us evaluate whether leads are valuable to become a customer, and in that way, we don't have to manually evaluate whether leads are valuable, but they'll only come. The software will tell us when someone is valuable, and from there we can take on the customer and actually get into a sales meeting with them or end up with sales calls. And marketing automate, and currently all these automation techniques are set up, but there is a whole ton more that we can do to refine lead potential and get better at focusing on leads that matter. Moving forward, we're going to implement lead scoring, which helps us to score each lead based on what action they take. So we might value someone who has put in a form for a beta trial a lot higher than someone who has just submitted their email to download a form. And that is it for marketing on my end. I'll hand over to David for sales.
Thanks for that, Michelle. So just to sum it up, really what Michelle's been doing is probably about, and it's still ongoing as well. So we get, as a team from Wovion, ongoing it's been weekly and it's been moved to fortnightly just so that we can focus on getting the execution out of the way from Ryan Benici. And Ryan was previously one of the head of global for marketing at HubSpot. He's now transitioned over to another startup, and we're still getting that ongoing, G2 Crowd. And so we're still getting that ongoing guidance and mentoring, as well as like feedback from our other advisors in the marketing network. So thanks for that, Michelle. It's great to actually get that overview of where we're going with. It's so much, there is so much marketing content that we still need to launch out. There's also so much that we need to understand and analyze just from the data alone in terms of what people are biting on, what people are interested in, what people are downloading. As a heads up, we've iterated on our call to action and our actual statement, which is obviously what we know as a 30-second line, where people are, why are people coming to Wovion? Why are the enterprise people interested? Why are the CMOs? Why are the startup founders? Why are they interested in Wovion? And anyone who's interested in that, we can share a separate document regarding that. So thanks again, Michelle. On product, I'm going to try to keep, as a lot of you realize, this recording is being shared to another 10 other guests, those who couldn't make it today. And we will, one of the things I am good at is actually getting to the point. Today, I am going to take a bit of a different stance on this one. This is literally fresh off the press. And I'm just going to share my screen just 1 second. How much time do we still have, Michelle? About 20 minutes? Okay, so this is potentially going to cut it right in 20 minutes. If it goes a bit over, we'll try to send out another link. So just give me a sec. I'm just going to bring that up. Present. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep. That's good.
Okay. All right, good. So I thought I'd take it through a journey to where we've been before and what's been happening, because there is a lot of feedback we are getting in terms of like, when can we actually try the system? When can we get on? When can we start playing around with some of the features? And admittedly, we've gone through a journey, and a lot of our iterations has, and in many respects, it's quite clever to do it this way, just focused on iterating on prototypes and mock-ups, just so that we can hone in. Likewise, what we've been doing for the messaging for Wovion, literally iterating on that message we did that for nearly over 6 months alone with just Ryan Benici, just so that we can hone in and get hyper-focused on exactly who we're trying to target. And so I want to take you through that journey of where we were before and how things have actually progressed. And that way, it'll be a nice segue to when Chad starts talking about his development work and why things have been happening, why things are at the stages of where they're at for the last 12 months. So like moving forward on this discussion here, like this product originally started back in 2016, specifically when Adam and Jake flew over to Sydney and we started on Wovian 0.01. And I mean that in all honesty here, because it was literally a bunch of concepts which is, in this case, it wasn't even whiteboarded. We put it on a piece of paper and it was on the wall. And our goalpost there alone was just to identify whether we had customers for it, whether there was a real problem, and could we do it? And it answered without fail yes to all of them, and we even got validation on the points. And we thought we hit a gold mine. We honestly thought, oh, well, how hard could it be? How hard is customer conversations to actually deliver? How hard is it for the business, and why haven't they solved it? Because we were using, well, on our end anyway, on some of the fronts, we were using Zendesk. We had used HubSpot for some marketing campaigns. We had exposure to Hootsuite, and we'd use all these other applications, and we'd spoken to several businesses as well. And that's where we decided, okay, well, how hard could it honestly be? So we spent, that should actually be October 2016, by the way. So we had spent long hours hacking and hustling away, Jake and Adam going to B2B networking events, and trying to crystallize that problem which we had identified. And we did that. We did that successfully with 30 businesses. These were through my business connections, partners, mentors we had at the time, and we thought we had something. We honestly thought the messaging which we're going out with was resonating with the potential customers, and now it was about deciding whether or not we should go ahead and continue this startup. And that's honestly October 2016 is when Wovian was born. This was our initial prototype, an embarrassing one, but it was honestly, this was the starting point to Wovian even becoming a company, and Jake and Adam and I even forming a founders agreement. So we drew this on an A2 piece of paper, and I actually tested this mock-up with potential customers. And admittedly, it was only a handful, but we thought, once again, wow, the feedback was great. We thought we'd found the holy grail. And to actually go about to validate that, we then continued on to speak to more small businesses and potential consumers. We originally thought that this was going to be purely a small business product. And so once again, rather than going ahead and building too much in terms of the underlying infrastructure and underlying architecture and wasting too much time of that, we flipped the game plan a lot, and we decided just to focus on market fit and ensuring that we had that product market fit. And we listened and we spoke to many small businesses. I was running an e-commerce store at the time, and we were testing to see whether these concept of conversation channels and customer service was going to work. Even the business name at the time was called Automates, and we were even experimenting with names such as, like, for example, Spaghetti Junction, just because of how complicated all of these feeds and conversations and how convoluted they were, and just getting that first 3 months in your face, just getting to the nitty gritty of just understanding customer service and conversations. Going to market, so we decided in December 2016, we had built an MVP. We thought we understood intercom conversations, and we prototyped it and mocked it up. Facebook, we did the same as we did the same as well for email conversations. And once again, we brought this out to the customers who would use it. And the feedback, once again, was all ticks. They loved it. And a lot of these businesses were small, independent, mum and dad businesses, very small e-commerce companies, because that was what we believed who weren't being addressed. And that market was, out of the 2 million odd small businesses, we identified at least 100,000 of those who would actually be our target market. And then we thought, well, all we needed this to work would be obviously some AI and ML, and we started joking about how we could actually make all these conversations work with prioritization and the customer management on the screen. So we took these prototypes to the next stage, where we were talking a lot to Progress Claim, who will be following up on the recordings for this conversation we're having now, and also Dave Stills, just to experiment on the workflows for those conversations and how would this fit in. And we got a lot of this mentoring as well from advisors who had experience in the e-commerce space, as well as SaaS-based products. So, moving forward as well, this whole concept was like, well, how can we even make more revenue? And that's where we decided, oh, well, what the hell? Let's just throw in a marketplace, and out of the integrations and plugins which potential third-party consultants and software developers could create, we'll take a swipe of like 15 to 25% of their sales, which is the market rate, and it will open up another opportunity, because we learned a lot from these conversations we had with our customers, and we understood that workflows within an organization weren't always the same, and this opened up to discussions for the enterprise. We realized by this period in end of May that perhaps small businesses wasn't our target market. When we spoke to them at the time, they were all interested because they weren't being addressed. So it was an excellent opportunity. However, speaking to them, they were only willing to pay whatever they're willing to pay for example, Shopify, or whatever they're willing to currently pay for any type of plugin, which would be around the $19.95 to $29.95 a month. But they wanted everything. And we weren't going to do that as part of our MVP. We weren't ready for that, ideally. So moving forward, we decided to get ongoing iterations and feedback throughout March and May 2017 this year. We wanted to ensure that we had product market fit, which was all those iterations and ongoing iterations we had with Ryan Benici and several of our advisors, just to understand what was the messaging we were coming out with, and who was going to listen to that. And there's a concept called WTCF, or CFC. I won't say, but I should. Who the fuck really cares about this product, right? So there's this concept as well. Like, when we're going to bring out this product, if it's going to matter to them, we want to have the biggest impact, and that's where we decided, well, it's actually maybe the enterprise market, which is where Wovion's going to fit, and that's where we had to go back, speak to a lot of our customers, including, or I should say, pilot customers. So we got a lot of feedback from Ryan, and that's because we spoke a lot to Ryan, because he actually has exposure to testing out products and testing out other competitor products, and giving us a lot of feedback about what we were doing right and what we're doing wrong. Mind you, the difficulty of what we've been doing is because we're tapping into the enterprise market. We couldn't really give them a half-baked product, and we couldn't really give them a product which was only working to a certain extent, which is what our MVP was. It only had data of some conversations coming through. We could do a few basic team management functionalities, but we couldn't do more beyond that. So we're working furiously for the first half of 2017 just to get more feedback. Likewise, we spoke a lot to Progress Claim. We spent a great deal amount of time with Ray and Ben from that team, just on their over 11,000 conversations which they had. And just to give you an idea of their customer service team, it's roughly about 2 customer service agents to handle 7,000 customers. And then we're dealing with feedback from Tapper and also Dave Stills, just to get some ideas on the e-commerce market, payment systems. And we realized, we're getting to a point here that, actually, I forgot to mention that we actually got further validation on our product, obviously, from some of the funding we got throughout 2016 and 2017, and also the accelerators and also the awards, which I won't talk about too much, but we do have it published on our website. So we thought we had it. Like, we thought by June, July, we'll bring in a team, including Joey, Peter Scott, Gary, Zhao, or if I pronounce that right, and Jay. We thought, look, added to this team, we're going to go live. July 2017 was going to be our go live date. We had the mock-ups, we had the system all in place. We had AI working in there. We had machine learning. We believed we had machine learning in there. And this was going to rock and roll at the enterprise level. So July was going to be, or the end of July was going to be the official Wovion version 1 launch date. And as you can see, our mock-ups and the actual system itself had iterated significantly from October 2016. We created the ability to manage conversations. There was the ability to see those customers individually on the screen. We had it working. Although we realized though that this was probably not going to work. And this was the start of August 2017. So we had an MVP for enterprise, but on multiple product launch attempts, the system was crashing. And we test regularly, but our testing framework wasn't going to be robust. And I think we realized quite early on that we're in like a bit of a deep shit mode. We lacked the technical knowledge as well to take it to the next level. We knew that if we launched this out with some of our enterprises who were, and I've stressed this many times, they are knocking on our door still. We weren't going to be able to support them, and that was going to burn our bridges very early on. And also the MVP for the lower hanging fruit, the product wasn't going to be stable to handle these multiple channels. We realized that it was okay to handle maybe 3, cross your fingers 4 customers as an MVP, but very fast we realized that it wasn't going to be able to handle thousands, if not millions, and tens and hundreds of millions of conversations. And whilst it would look really cool to be that Twitter fail whale, I think we decided to take a step back and make some very, very hard decisions. And so at the end of August 2017, we reached out to Chadwick, and Chad does remember some of those conversations where I was crossing the city in Sydney, sweating, and in a lot of respects, I was on a lot of calls to Adam and Jake going, what do we do? This is a really tough situation. And it was very fortunate. I was actually on a flight to Vietnam as well, and I was speaking to some AI engineers there because we thought that was going to be the solution. And lo and behold, Chad decided to believe in us, which is really good. Thank you, Chad.
I'm going to leave you at that for now. I'll quickly send out another Zoom link via the calendar.
Sure. Let's do that.
I'll see you in a bit.